Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me?
It's Erica. I can hear you.
Okay, hey, thank you. So can you see my screen, Erica?
I'm actually on the call. I haven't gotten home yet to
Oh,
onto the computer.
Okay, anybody that's on the Zoom, can you let me know if you can see my screen?
I can see your screen.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Hold on, someone's asking me. Okay, so thank you. I'm gonna give it like another 2 minutes for the latecomers to come in because I don't want to have to start over. But first of all, thank you guys for purchasing a planner and joining this challenge. I'm actually going to be doing everything with you because it's more organized from what I did last year. So I kind of, this is all of the steps that I took that were all over the place, and I kind of put it into a step-by-step format. And so I'm actually going to walk through it this way. So I'm going to be doing it with you guys. And I'm super excited about it too, because I do want to see, now that it's organized and I've done it, because now I'm in my second year and most of you are in your first year. And so that means, you're going to be in your second year next year and I'm going to be in my third year. So I just want to see what it looks like each year as, the mindset changes and we progress. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I know I said that I was going to have this, recorded. So I just want to let you know if you ask any questions or anything, this is recorded. So you don't have to really get too specific about, your situation, but just remember this is a recording, but it's going to go into a group on a social media page. If there's any questions, any specific questions, specific to you, you can, shoot me an email or inbox and I can address it. So this is the challenge, the intro to the debt repayment challenge webinar. And pretty much we are going to talk about the whole purpose, and then we're going to get into what January is going to look like. I did express that the reason that I'm releasing this by month is because I don't want people to jump ahead. I've already gotten inboxes from people who did receive it, and oh, hold on. Somebody said, "Where's the link for the webinar?" I posted the link for the webinar in the group, right? I think I did. I know I did. Hold on 1 second.
I got it off the email.
Okay, hold on. Hold on, let me see really quick.
I couldn't find it in the Facebook group.
You couldn't?
I was looking for it real quickly and I went through. After 5 minutes, I just went to my email.
I thought I posted.
It might be there. I just didn't see
Probably
it.
buried somewhere. Okay, let me see.
And I got it off the email as well. I didn't check the group.
Oh, okay. All right, so let me just make sure. Let me just, because sometimes
It is in the group.
it is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just comment on it so it can be there at the top.
Okay.
I know sometimes the email goes to junk. Okay, so what was I saying? Okay, so I didn't, I got inboxes from people who said that they already started. They were asking me questions because they jumped so far ahead. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to release it until we could do this call, but I couldn't do this call until I was back from, as you all know, I was in Florida. I mean, I wanted to be focused. So imagine if we had released everything, then people would just jump ahead. And because this is the first type of planner like this for me, and I haven't seen anyone like this out there, I want to make sure the process flows correctly for everybody, so you don't get too far ahead and you don't get overwhelmed. If you were on the live yesterday, what I expressed about this planner and why I feel like it's different is because it's not just about, you're going to do budgets and, you're going to pay down your debt. It's about getting to the root of the problem and figuring out what your relationship is with money, why your relationship is like that with money. And it's what I had to deal with last year, when I started therapy. It made me really look at the root of, actually all of my behavior. And the root of it was trauma. And the way I was spending the way I was spending because I was trying to fill a validation, fill a void. And if I felt bad because something triggered me, I would go spend money on whatever, whether it be alcohol, gambling, a trip, just so I can feel better in the moment. But at the same time, my finances are, spiraling out of control. So I'm not going to read the intro. I hope you guys read the intro. It kind of explains what I just explained. And then here's the planner guide. And, I hope you guys read this. I did want to touch on something that's in the planner guide. The priority of credit, the priority of debt for us is going to be credit card. It's going to be number one because, as most of you all know, if you've been following me, I'm a credit repair specialist. And credit card debt, the more you pay it down, the higher your score go up. So your utilization drops and then your score goes up. Not only that, credit card interest for the most part, the way it accrues, the compound interest really hurts you. And so we're going to focus on credit card, which is one. The second priority is going to be auto. The third priority is going to be student loans. And the reason why is because student loans sometimes are, well, most, I didn't say sometimes, are very large for most people. And the purpose of doing this is you want to focus on what are your smaller amounts. Because if you only have student loans, then that's fine. You may not have any credit cards. You may not have a auto loan. So if you don't have them, then your priority drops. So if you don't have a credit card, your number one priority is going to be auto. If you don't have either of those, your number one priority is going to be student loans. Also, because for student loans, usually the interest rate is the lowest of the two. So the compound interest that you're accruing that's going to get you deeper in debt is, the credit card and the autos, but the student loan is not that high at the moment, right? And then the mortgage, of course. And then, if you have miscellaneous falls into medical debt, some type of utility bill that, you're paying on, and stuff like that. So we'll talk about that. Everybody's in the Facebook group, which is good for the most part. If you aren't in there, you need to join it. And okay, that's it. I just wanted to talk about the priority of debt. Okay, so January, if you looked at this, it's probably overwhelming. And I really wanted to explain it. So we're already in week 1. So you have the column that says your action steps. We're in week 1. You've already done the intro. You're on it now. And hopefully you all have downloaded the 4 resources, which is the debt payoff planner, every dollar, which is the budget, at Coins, which is the credit card or debt payment app, and Self-Lender. And I want to explain these to you. So on all of them, I said, just download them, but do not start them. And the reason why is because someone said it on one of the posts was they don't have the money to pay out Self-Lender every month because they have other debt. So as we walk through this process, you downloaded the app. You're actually not going to utilize them until we're done with the budget, because we have to do the budget to see if you're in the green, then that means you can do Self-Lender, because that means you have discretionary income. If you're in the red, you cannot do Self-Lender until you get out of the red, because you don't want to open something and now be responsible for another payment, especially with this one, because it goes on your credit report when you already can't afford the expenses that you have now. So you don't want to add an extra expense. So that's why I wanted you guys to wait and not just start. Same thing with Coins. The thing about Coins is, even though it's a Roundup app, it's still taking money. It's still an expense. So I'll explain how Coins works. So Coins is a Roundup app, and what they do is, and why I really, really like them, is because you set it and you just forget it for the most part. So it's a Roundup app, and what Roundup means is basically loose change. So if you go to the store and you spend $1.50, you swipe your card, or even if a charge comes out of your bank account, it rounds up to the nearest dollar. So it takes 50 cents, $1.50 to $2 is 50 cents. It takes the 50 cents and it banks it. But it takes the 50 cents out of your whatever account you link it to. So your checking account or whatever, your bank account that you link it to. And it puts it to the side. Once it gets to $5 of doing the roundup or loose change, it takes that $5 out of your bank account. Once, for the month, all of it that it accrues for the month, it sends the payment to whatever creditor you tell it to. You can also, if you have enough discretionary income, you can say, I wanted to round up twice and send it to more than one. It does everything for you. It is $1.99, but I can guarantee you it's worth it. I've been doing it for a year, and I think I posted it. I'm at like $2,500 in debt, credit card debt paid off. And that's why I wanted to explain the priority. If you have credit card debt, the first thing you want to put in Coins is your credit card debt. The second thing about Coins is that's really good is, even if you set it up and you have an expense that comes into your bank account, they notify you when they're about to take the money out. And you have the option to cancel them doing the withdrawal or reschedule it. So there's been times where, something came out, or I didn't have the money in my bank account, and it sent me a notification and said that, it was going to withdraw. And so I was like, you know what? I don't even want to try to figure out if I'm going to have it, and I just canceled it. And then it continues to do it. Now, you also have the option, if for February, you're going to have a big expense, your discretionary income is going to be very limited, you can actually pause it. So it's a really good app. You have control of it. It just, you can stop it. So it's really good, and it really has helped me in paying down my credit card debt and my debt. Now, the other really good thing about Coins is, let's just say you don't want to use it to put it towards your debt. People just choose not to. Maybe you have some other means of income or methods that you want to use to put it towards your debt. I highly suggest you do it, but you can also use it as a reward system for yourself. So one of the things that's and we'll talk about the reward system, but since I'm talking about it, I'm going to speak on it. One of the things that I thought that would work, because it worked for me, was most of us are going to be extremely disciplined, and we're going to have to sacrifice some things that the way we're used to spending our money, some things that we're used to having. you know. So my thing is, if you meet your monthly goal, then you reward yourself at the end of the month. I haven't figured out how we do that yet. And that's where you guys, come in. But what I thought was a good thing and what I was going to do for myself was I'm still going to use coins, but I'm going to do a separate payout to myself that says, if I keep this going every month, they're going to send me a check, because they can actually send you a check. You can set it up to send yourself a check. And it's going to send me a check, and whatever it sends me, that's going to be my money as my reward, that I can do whatever I want with it. I can spend it for that month. I can put it to the side and say, it's going to be my money, to my spending money for a trip, or something like that. So that's just an idea for what you got, for what you all can, ways to reward yourself. And we'll talk more about it in the group. Kiana had a really great idea for rewards, was every day you save money, save money from not eating out or whatever. You put it in a jar. That's your reward jar. Then at the end of the month, that's what you have for your reward for not, instead of spending $15 on lunch eating out, you're only spending, you say, I'm going to spend 10, I'm not going to get this. I'm not going to get a dessert, or I'm not going to get a soda or something like that. Put that $5 in the jar. You do that every day. And that's your money for your reward, for you to do what you want at the end of the month. I truly believe in a reward system, because I think what happens, and it happened to me during this process where I was depriving myself so much of things like alcohol. I love wine. And I was like, I'm not going to buy wine. I'm not going to buy wine. And it got to a point where I was so overwhelmed, I ended up buying a bottle of wine and drinking a bottle of wine a day. And so that's kind of binging, because I didn't drink wine for 3 months. So I do not believe, and this is just my belief, that we need to deprive ourselves of the things that we want. I just believe that we should find ways to do it in certain proportions, right? So do it to where as though we're not overindulging in it, but we should still reward ourselves, because we work very hard, not only in this challenge, but just daily. So you have to have some type of reward system. That's a positive. That's positive. We're not, again, like I said, we're not going to start any of these, like the coins or the self-lender, until we get through the budget, because we want to make sure you have discretionary income to do it. And if you don't at the time, you just have to work through it until you get to the green, so you can do this extra stuff. So that's week 1. So if you've downloaded all the resources, you're done with week 1. If you look over in the planner, where it says completed items, let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay, how do I make it B1? Okay, I don't know what I did here, but if you do it on a PC, you can pick here what you've completed. So let's see what's on here. Downloaded resources. If you downloaded the resources, you check there. You've done the webinar, you check here. You want to make sure you complete all of these steps before we get to February, because then that means you're ready to move to the next step. It's very important to complete these steps and not jump around, because if you try to do a budget, if you try to do your repayment plan without creating your budget, you're going to fail, because your repayment plan is dependent on your budget. Your budget is the most essential tool to this process, because you have to know what you have coming in, and you have to know what you have going out, so you can know what you can afford to pay extra or put towards paying down your debt. Okay. And it's also a driver for you to know, and we're going to get to this following months, is we're going to talk about ways to monetize, ways to bring in extra income so you can have more discretionary income to go towards your debt. So I don't want to jump too far ahead, but that's one of the reasons why you have to do your budget before you do anything else. I'm telling you, if you do not do your budget and complete your budget and you try to do all this, you are going to most likely get yourself deeper in debt. And the reason why is because you're not going to have an account of where your money is going. You need to allocate and account every single dollar that comes in and every single dollar that goes out. It doesn't matter if it's getting your nails done. It doesn't matter if it's I've been buying wine. You have to see how you're spending your money so you can know what areas you need to cut in. Okay, so week 2, this is when you really start doing the work. Week 2 is you're going to list your creditors. And this is going to be your credit cards. It's going to be your loans. It's not going to be your car payment. It's going to be credit cards and installment loans. It's not going to be your student loans. It's not going to be your mortgage. It's going to be your credit cards and any installment loans. So you have a personal loan that you took out that you pay monthly on. I see a lot of people have, is it Cons or Acceptance Now? So something to that effect that you, or Navy Federal loan or something like that in your credit cards. And what you're going to do is you are going to try to negotiate your interest rate down. If you're able to negotiate your interest rate down, that means that your monthly payment is going to be less. If your monthly payment is less, that means you have more money to allocate towards your debt. And also you have, you're going to accrue less interest. So what you're going to do next week is you're going to write a list you're going to write them down, a list of your creditors. Actually, there's let's go here. My list. This is what you're going to do. And you're going to complete this. You can print it out. You can write it. And again, I talked about this on the live. It is very important that you write this stuff out. Because if you don't write it out, you're going to forget something. You're going to try to figure this out. Because you have to. One thing I did was I went to my credit report. Because almost everything that is reporting, that you have, creditors for the most part, is going to be on your credit report. If you do not have access to your credit report, I'll drop a link in the group. And it's so you can get access to your credit report for $1 for 7 days. And it's up to you guys if you want to keep it. I kept mine because I want to be able to see how my utilization is moving, how my scores are moving. Credit Karma is just not a good resource, honestly. It's free. It's not a good resource. But, and if you have it in your budget to do it. But you can pull it for $1. You can see all your creditors. What you're going to have to do is you can write all your creditors here from your credit report. Your interest rate is if you, have access to it online, you can either go online and look at your statements from your credit cards and pull up your interest rate. Or you can go online for your installment loan and look at your interest rate. So for example, Navy Federal. If you have a Navy Federal credit card, when you log into it, you can hit additional info for that credit card. And it'll show you your interest rate. It'll show you your balance. If you have Capital One, you pull up your statement, and at the bottom, it shows your interest rate. Anytime you're not sure how to get your interest rate, you can just call them preliminary and say, hey, can you just tell me what my interest rate is? And that's how you get it. You complete this. You'll put your monthly payment here, and then you'll put your total balance. Okay? Now, once you do this, what you're going to do is call each creditor. And what you're going to tell them is, and I know some of you have tried to do this because it was put in a group, you're going to tell them that you're facing a hardship. And what I'm saying to you guys, I put it onto one of the negotiate sheet, and it talks about it. But I'm just talking it out, and you can read. It's very important you read through these pages because there are tips in there. So let me go back. So what you're going to do is you're going to contact them, and you're going to tell them that you're facing a hardship, a financial hardship. And you can say whatever you want. Your hours were reduced or whatever. And they will let you know what they can offer you. So I'll give you an example. When I was going through this, I contacted Discover, and I told Discover I was having a financial hardship. I had lost of income, and they gave me the option of doing a 6-month program with a reduced interest rate. I think my interest rate was like 18 or something like that. And then it went to 9.99 for 6 months. And my payment got reduced. And I had 6 months of, a lower interest rate and lower monthly payment. And during that time, it helped me to pay off some smaller debt, because of course my monthly payment was reduced, but I only had 6 months to do it. They also offer a 12-month program if you want to do it that way. Now, please pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. When you negotiate, and if you agree to go into a program, some of them will tell you they have to close your account, okay? With Discover, they don't close your account, but your account is inactive while you're in the program. And actually, that's what you want, because it doesn't make sense to get into these programs and commit to paying down debt if all you're going to do is make payments and then still use your credit cards. So that's why we're going to have a credit card cut up session. It's going to be a webinar. Y'all going to join me, and y'all going to cut up those credit cards, especially the ones that you're working on. Okay, credit card debt is extremely dangerous, and that's another reason it's my number one priority. So I'll give you another example. When I went through this with American Express, American Express will reduce your interest rates drastically, but you have to close your cards. Which, in my opinion, when I was doing it, it wasn't a big deal to me. I'm a credit repair specialist, and I know, okay, if they close it, of course it's going to impact my utilization, right? Because I no longer had that available credit. But here's my thing. If your cards are maxed out, for the most part, your utilization is already impacted negatively. So closing it doesn't hurt it. And for me, when I did close it, my score dropped like 10 points. And I'm going to tell you guys something that's very important. This challenge is about debt payoff, debt repayment. Your number one priority is to get out of debt. I'm a credit repair specialist, and I will tell you, your score dropping 10 points does not hurt you. It really doesn't. The priority is paying down your debt, putting yourself in any position or any program so you can minimize compound interest. So for me, yes, my score was, what it was, but I didn't care about the 10-point drop, because I knew I was going to be then reducing my balances. And if you know about utilization, once your balances reduce, it's positive, your utilization goes down, and then it's improvement to your score overall. So closing the card didn't matter to me. And also because I know for a fact with American Express, actually all these other credit card companies, even Navy Federal, if they close your account, you can apply again. I did it with Navy Federal. I had a $15,000 credit card. That was the one that I paid off the $20,000, plus I had another card. It was $15,000. I contacted them, and I told them that I needed to, I've had a financial hardship, and I needed to negotiate my rate. What they did was have me complete this personal finance form. And I know a lot of people have Navy Federal. And it came down to me being able to qualify. And what they told me was they had to close my account, which was fine. I didn't worry about that. But they did tell me once I closed it, once I paid it off, they told me it wouldn't hurt me from applying for another card down the line, as long as my credit scores were fine. I had actually, to be honest with you guys, I had only paid it down to about $5,000. And I applied for another credit card, and they gave me $20,000. So I'm just saying this to let you guys know. People always say to me, well, I don't want to close the account. I want to keep my credit card with them. Do you want to keep your credit card that's at the max, or do you want to focus on paying down your debt? You can get a credit card from anywhere, as long as you make sure you're taking care of your financial responsibility. And just being in this challenge already lets me know that you want to change the way your relationship with money, which is ultimately going to shift over into your credit. So that's what your challenge is going to be. If there's any questions about, should you close something, or, how it's going to impact you, I'm telling you right now, you just got to make a decision. If you're going to commit to this, do you care about 10 points dropping, or do you care about paying the extra $1,000 in interest? And the interest is what's keeping us in debt and what's keeping us broke. So, for me, my priority was my debts. I didn't care if they closed my account. And like I said, I'm a credit repair specialist. I see people all the time, close cards with credit card companies for whatever reason, and then open up another credit card. So it's not a big deal. But if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. And so you're going to, you're going to complete this, you're going to contact your creditors, you're going to put what your interest rate is now, and then, you're going to cross out whatever the interest rate is now, and then you're going to put it into, you're going to put your new interest rate. You got to complete this before you move to the next step. Let me add one more thing about Navy Federal. The way Navy Federal's program works is any accounts you have with them, not just that, even if you call about that one credit card, all of them fall under that. So if you have a car, if you have an installment loan, they look at all of them and they put all of them under the program to reduce the interest rate and the payments for a year. What happens is if you need to do it for another year, you have to just contact them again. And they do it up to 2 years. And so that's a good period for you to, pay down pay down the balances. Now, once you complete this sheet, what you're going to do is, let me just make sure I'm staying on track. Okay. You're going to input all the data into the debt payoff planner. Now, if you download the app, I'm pretty sure some of y'all may have played with it a little bit. The way that it works is, and I can't show you because I didn't get pro, and you can only log in online if you get pro. And I suggest you don't get pro because you add an expense. That's an expense. Maybe after, you can create more discretionary income, you can get the pro, and then you can go into your laptop and log in. Until then, you have to use the app. And so I'm just going to look at it really quick so I can talk you through it. What you do is, you're going to put in each one of your debts. Now, I want to say this because I want you guys to understand, because when I did it and I initially put in all my debt and my minimum payments without putting my extra amount that I can contribute, it said I wasn't going to be out of debt until like 2035. And I was like, whoa, like I was so overwhelmed just seeing it. So what you're going to do is you're going to, you sign up and you're going to enter each one of your debts. Now, you're not going to enter, remember, you're only focusing on, you can put student loans in here too. You can put your car note in here. I don't want you to put your mortgage in here. If it's not a reoccurring debt, don't put it in here. If it's a medical bill that's a collection account, don't put it in here. It has to be something that's open and current, that basically is on your credit report, but do not put your mortgage. But if your mortgage is, say you only got a mortgage, one credit card, and a student loan, you can put it. But don't put all of your debt, like all your credit cards, all your installment loans, your auto loan, put all of that in here, and it's just going to be too much to try to track. One of the things that I suggest is, depending on how much you have, maybe put in your top 5. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with your top 5. Your top 5 based on the balances. So your smallest to your largest. I think that's a good way to do it, because you don't want to sit and put all, have to put everything. If you have, like 20, you may have 20. So let's just do 5 at a time, from smallest to largest. And so what you're going to do is you're going to put what it asks you for is, for your debts, it asks you for the name of your creditor, what your starting balance is. And remember, guys, you can look on your credit report, or you can look at your account, or you can, look at the sheet that you did at the time. It doesn't have to be your accurate balance. Your estimate is fine. So example, if your balance is $5,012, you can, round up if you want. You can do 5,000, you can do 5,015. You're going to put your minimum payment every month, and you're going to put your interest rate. Remember, you're basically just copying from the sheet that you already did. You can put the category that it falls in. You're going to put your payment due date. And if you want, you can put a payment reminder in there. I didn't do that because this wasn't to tell me when I needed to pay. This is to tell me, to help me manage my debt payoff. And then if you have a promotional interest rate, like if you just open a card and you're still within your promotional rate, interest rate period, you can put that in. And then you're going to save them. You're going to have all of them in here. Now, once you put all of that in here, it's going to tell you what your minimum payment, what your total monthly payment is based on all your minimum payments of your debts that you put in. So let's just say those 5. You're not done with this. This is just what you're going to do, because there's a portion in here that says, how much extra can you contribute a month? But you can't do that until you complete your budget. So that's why I said the budget ties to everything. It's the most significant piece. But the reason why I don't want you to do the budget first is because all of these listings of your creditors and then your list of your income and expenses that we'll get to, all of this you've done all the work to put it into your budget. So I didn't want to work it backwards. Okay. So that's that for the debt planner. Okay. Now, in the meantime, when you do make a payment, so say for example, you already put your information in here and you made your minimum monthly payment. So you go in and you can record that you did your minimum monthly payment. For some reason you do an extra payment, you can record that you did an extra payment. Okay. So that's that for the debt planner. Okay. So I have to negotiate the interest rate. And then next week, your top 5 cards. I want people to keep one card. Now, if you're like me and you just want to be done, I cut up all my cards. I don't even have no credit. I cut up all my credit cards. What I did was I cut up all my credit cards. I wrote the balance of all my credit cards on a piece of paper. Hold on. Actually, I can show you guys. 1 second. See, it's good to keep this proof so y'all know I ain't lying. So these are all my credit cards. These are all my credit cards. Y'all can see. I didn't cut. Well, I put them in. I ain't cut. I probably got tired of cutting because they hard. And then I wrote here how much how much my debt was. Can y'all see that? 53,000. Not only I put my credit. That was my credit. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is my business stuff too. So, I put it in this saran wrap bag. So this is what we're gonna be doing on. I can't remember. We'll go through the calendar, but y'all gonna meet me here, and y'all gonna cut up. If you really serious and you really committed to this process, you have to stop using your credit cards and start at some point operating off of cash, because that's, credit cards are really supposed to be for emergency, not for buying lunch, not for getting coffee, not for getting the shoes that you want. Because the reality of it is, and this is what I had to understand, if I had to use my credit card to pay for something, I couldn't afford it. That's the reality of it. It really is. If you have to use your credit, if I had to use my credit card and I couldn't use my bank account, I could not afford it. And I know there's some instances where, okay, you know, I want to get my rewards or whatever. Unless you got but you should already have the cash. So that means if you swipe your credit card, you should be applying that cash immediately. Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry, guys. I just realized something. Sorry. Supposed to take my son his basketball shoes for training, and that's why he was texting me. Sorry, y'all know my child Samaj, if you follow me. You know, we gonna have that. And again, you have to be serious and you have to commit to this. Like, it's a commitment. You can't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So, you know, you cut your cars up and you freeze them. But the good thing about it is, remember, you're still paying on them. So you're going to get the credit report and history and stuff like that. Week 3 is going to be our budget webinar. And that's when I'm going to show you guys the essentials and basics of a budget. Then what you're going to do, and we're going to probably, these two are going to run together, because you actually may have to list your income and expenses prior to watching a budget webinar, or maybe I think you do that first, but I'll look at the calendar. But you're going to list all of you're going to take a piece of paper, you're going to list all your income you have coming in: child support, Social Security, wages, you know, salary from your job. If you got a hobby, you do stuff, you do hair on the side or nails on the side, whatever. You're going to put all that, you're going to list all that, and you're going to list every single expense that you have: hair, nails, eating out, if you got a cleaning person, how much you spend on gas. You know, some of the stuff is going to have to be an estimate. You know, transportation, you know, and then it's also going to be those same creditors that you listed in your monthly payments. You're just going to list it at this point, because I'm going to show you what you need to do with it as far as applying it to your budget. And I mean, it has to be everything: what you spend on entertainment. If you don't have an exact number, one of the things that I did was I went and looked at my last month's statement. So my credit card, I also looked at my bank statement to show me give me an estimate of what I was spending, what I had spent in the previous month. Because sometimes we're just spending and we're not accounting for it, right? So you can list that as your initial estimated numbers. And then what you're going to do is, based on the webinar, you're going to complete the first draft of your budget. And I'm going to provide an Excel spreadsheet for you to do the first draft of your budget. When we get to week 4, you're going to review your draft budget, and I'm going to talk about this in the budget webinar. And you are going to look at it and say, what are my needs versus my wants, right? We know food is a need, right? Is getting a wax every 2 weeks. And I know some guys, when you guys get waxed too, getting a wax every 2 weeks, is that a necessity? You know, is getting my nails done every week a need? Is getting my hair done every week a need? Is spending $500 on groceries a need, or can I slim that down? You know, do I have to go out to spend $200 going to social stuff every month? Is that really a need? So you're going to determine or distinguish your needs versus your wants. And then you're going to look at that and you're going to reduce it. You're going to, what can I eliminate? You know, if I spend $60 on my nails each month, can I go down to once a month and do 30, so I can have an extra 30 to go towards my discretionary income? Because remember, when you do your budget, you're either going to be in the green or you're going to be in the red. If you're in the green, that's still good. But remember, you're trying to find more money to put towards your debt. So you still have to do this process. If you're in the red, you definitely need to do something about this budget. As far as, you know, what you need to eliminate, because that means right there, you're living beyond your means. And most of the time when we're living beyond our means, that means we're using credit cards to supplement, which is not good. So you're going to go through that process of just looking at it and eliminating your needs versus your wants. And then you are going to complete your final budget. So here's something that I want to add. Again, I do budget consultations, and I'm going to tell you guys that this process is not easy. Doing a budget is very, very hard, and it's very overwhelming, because if you're in the red especially, you're going to start having some type of emotions, and it may trigger some things because you're going to see that you are actually broke. It is going to clarify for you that you are broke. But it's not the end of the world, because you're going to have a process to really recognize, all right, I don't want to be broke anymore. And so I have to make this sacrifice and reduce some of this stuff. And again, you're not sacrificing everything, you know? You're just trying to eliminate. You're trying to change the way you spend your money. And it's a slower process for some, and that's okay. But you have to see what you're doing so you can change it. Like, we have to know where we are so we can get to where we want to go. And so when I do this with my clients, a lot of them will sit and try to justify what's a need versus a want, right? So they'll say, well, eating out is a need. I have to, I need food, right? I got to eat. Eating is a need. Food and nourishment to your body is a need to survive. Getting Domino's pizza every night is not a need. So it's an emotional thing, and you have to really work through what's a want versus a need. And sometimes I have to help them and have a conversation with them and say, do you really want to do this, or do you not? Or do you want to just make excuses? Because we will do that subconsciously. We think things are needs when they actually, think things are needs when they actually are wants. For example, I talked about this yesterday with my hair. I have locks, and my hair is so thick, and my roots grow out, and I have grays. And so my hair is $65 every time I get it done. And I would get it done sometimes twice a month. So that's $130. And so I said, well, can I cut back to a month? And I couldn't, in my mind, I couldn't do it because I always wanted my hair to look a certain way, because I wanted to, I'm a woman, and I cared about how people was looking at my roots, if they, look nappy. And so I had to internalize and say, why am I putting so much emphasis on how people look at me, right? I need to know I'm beautiful, whether or not, my locks are retwisted. So that's what we start looking at, the root of why we feel like this. And my thing was, when I was growing up, my mother used to, talk down to me a lot, call me nappy head, say I was ugly and things like that. And so because of that, I had this really, I was really, really determined never to come out the house looking a certain way, because I didn't want other people to call me ugly and call me nappy headed. But one of the things when I went to therapy, that was addressed. I kind of knew it, but I wasn't sure. But that was that fear, like, of how people viewed my presentation. But I know that I'm beautiful. I know that I'm beautiful regardless of if my hair is done, if I have lipstick on, if my eyebrows are waxed. It's an internal thing that I had to work through. And now, because of that, I don't know if you guys can see now, if you see my roots, like, I don't care. I actually went out on a date with my hair like this, and I didn't care. You know what I mean? Now, I'm still presentable. Like, I ain't going, I'm going to do my little stuff at home. But, I had to address why I put so much emphasis on my hair. And so now I might go every other month. That's the reality. Now I'm spending $65 versus spending, 3 times 65 is, somebody help me, 130, like $200 every month and a half. And that was money that went towards paying down my debt. So that's just an example of really justifying, because I tried to justify, I have to get my hair done every other week. I set and I ration and I justify. And, at the end of the day, it's a want. It is a need to be presentable, but getting my hair done every other week was, it wasn't justified. But it was justified based on a trigger and a trauma. Okay. And so you're going to do that. And, you know, like I said, even if it's a once, you can figure out ways to reduce it. So you can still get your hair done once a month. You know, you're just going to reduce that, that allocation to it. Right. So with me, in my case, if I went from every 2 weeks to once a month, I'm going from 130 to 65. So now I'm freeing up money. I mean, I hope you guys are following what I'm saying. Now, if you get to this process and you decide you want to do a consultation with me, and I'm not here to sell you guys anything, but I'm just letting you know the resource that you have available. All right. If you want to do a consultation with me, you can go onto my website and schedule it. And I'll help you. I don't do all of your work. What I do is you send me your draft, we'll schedule a session, and I'll help you get to complete your draft. Okay? That's just an option. You don't have to do. You guys are absolutely capable of doing this yourself. But if you get stuck emotionally, and that's what I find with a lot of my clients, they get stuck emotionally, and you need somebody to tell you, like be your trainer, your personal trainer at the gym, what you need to do and push you. I can help you with that. Okay. Now, when we get to week 5, that's going to be the debt repayment plan webinar. So this is when we're going to talk about what you need to put into the debt planner to complete what you have available, right? We're going to put into, oh, actually, let me back up because I want to go back to Every Dollar. Every Dollar is a budget app. So once we complete the draft of the budget, you want to stick it into, you're going to start to put that into Every Dollar. And Every Dollar is just a budget app. So you're going to go in and you're going to put all your income and expenses into that budget app. And, you know, when we get to that week, I'll talk to you guys more about it. Week 5 is the, debt repayment plan webinar. And basically, this is where you're going to say, okay, well, I have this much extra income that I can put into the debt repayment planner app to show what I have extra to go towards. And that's if you do, because you may not after you do your budget. And it's going to show you, okay, if you put an extra $50 towards your debt, this is going to push your, when you'll be debt free or pay off those 5 accounts that you put in, right? It's also going to let us know, should you do self-lender? And the reason why I think self-lender is so important here is because I'm big on savings, and we'll talk about that when we get to the budgeting stage, because you have to have a savings. And the reason why you have to have a savings is because if you don't have a savings, what you're going to do when you have an emergency, you're going to go right back to your credit cards. And if you run up your credit cards, then you're right back at square one. So you want to, and again, your savings is not going to save you all the time, but it's a mindset, right? So self-lender is also a savings tool. So here's my idea behind self-lender, because I said the goal is for everybody to save at least $5,000. Self-lender has the option to do a $500 CD, and you put $50 or $48 a month into it. At the end of the period of the year, you get your $500 plus interest back. If you do the $1,000 one, you put $89 towards it, and at the end of the year, you get $1,000 back. My thought is that you got $1,000 already saved up. You can do one or two things depending on what other savings methods you have. That's your $1,000 that's knocking you down now from $5,000 to $4,000, because you can put that $1,000 towards any of your outstanding debt. Or you now have a savings. And the good thing about self-lender is, even say you get 8 months through the challenge, and you saved up, let's just say $500 with self-lender. You can actually tap into that instead of saying, I'm using my credit card. Say you got an emergency, you need $400 for whatever reason. You can close your self-lender, withdraw your money out, and put it towards that, and then you can just start it over. But I'm really big on savings, and we're going to talk more about that when we get into the budgeting. And then we're also going to see if coins make sense for you. If you have discretionary income, should you be using the Roundup app? And then once we get through all of this, and I'm going to go a little bit through some of the pages, but once we get through all of this, it's that reward system we talked about. How do you want to reward yourself? I'm big on wine, so my thing was I would get 2 bottles of wine. new bottles of wine. And, throughout the week or the month, that's what I would drink. Or, if I had, a pair of heels or something that I wanted to buy. But, you got to be reasonable with your rewards. Don't say I'm going to spend. Depending on what your income is. You may have money to where as though you want to buy your $500 pair of shoes, but I wouldn't advise that if you have a lot of debt. So you got to figure out what you want, what your reward is for yourself. And maybe it's something that you put in the beginning of the month where you say, if I complete this month, like for me, one of the other things I did was I love the Korean spa. So I said, if I completed this, and I love to go and get those scrubs, ladies, if you ever had them, you naked, they scrub you down. It's $55 and it's like $35 to get into the spa. And so, but I got my thing on Groupon. So I think it came up to like maybe $70 or something like that. And I would say, okay, if I did everything I was supposed to do, and I also budgeted for my reward, I'm going to use this is how I'm going to reward myself. If I didn't meet my goal, I would take half of my reward and use it on something and put the other part of my reward money towards paying down my debt. So those are things you have to figure out what works for you. The things that work for me are not going to always work for you. So you got to figure out what are the things that you like. Do you like books? So if you like to read books, you say, okay, well, if I complete this, I'm going to get one of the books off the books that are on my wish list and I'm going to read. Okay. So you just got to figure that out. So this page is your webinar notes. So if after tonight, you can write or, type in this. We already talked about this sheet. And this one here, this is my favorite. So what you're going to do here for each month, you get this. And I spoke about this in, this is your sheet. Whoever that is, can you mute your phone? We can hear you. Every day, you should be completing this every day. And you're going to put on here, this is confusing because, and we're going to change this because it has like the dates up here. We're probably going to redo this, but just for the most part, this just means, so this is what's today, January the 3rd, right? It's today the 3rd? Yeah, the 3rd. So the thing that you want to ask yourself every day, did you make any purchases today? If it's a yes, you're going to put the amount. Where you're going to write the amount out. Was it an impulse purchase? This is what you're asking yourself, right? And then you're going to ask yourself, was it a need or a want? And then, you're going to put the amount in here. And if it was a need, and if it was a want, you want to ask yourself, and I do this now, honestly. Before I purchase something or it comes in my mind, because we get these impulses, like I told you guys, like Starbucks this morning. I actually was tired and I was like, I just want Starbucks. I was tired. And I actually saw the Starbucks and I said, oh man, I'm about to go to Starbucks. And I said, you know what? Nope. I asked myself, is this a want or a need? How am I feeling? Why am I saying it's a need? Because I did say it was a need. I'm tired. I need to wake up. And the caffeine is going to help me. But then I said, I'm addressing how I'm feeling. I'm tired. So when you're tired, you can't really make conscious decisions. I'm going to tell y'all that right now. And so I said it's a want. And I addressed how I was feeling. And then what I did was I kept going. And like I told you guys, I went to Wise and I purchased cake cups. And so, ideally what I would do is come here and I would write what my need was, right? So I would put, I needed groceries and I needed coffee. And so I spent, whatever I spent, I think it was like $12 because I got a banana and some blueberries. I didn't have any food at home. And I wrote it in there. And what you're going to do is at the end of the month, you're going to tally this up so you can see what your wants versus your needs are for the month. Because like I said, you have to see what you're doing. You have to see how you're spending your money. And it's going to be times you're going to spend on wants, and that's okay. Nobody has to be perfect doing this. You do not have to be perfect. You are not going to be perfect because it's so hard to stay disciplined with all the other worries that we have, right? In other areas, we have to be disciplined. But this is only a guide. It's a way to show you your relationship with money. And then what you're going to do at the end of the month, or you can actually do it by day, because I did it, just journal what your thoughts were. You can say, one of the things that I would say was, it was challenging to me because I had an emotional day. And so that's why I purchased, I went and purchased extra wine, or, I purchased a bunch of snacks that I knew I wasn't supposed to eat, or I wasn't supposed to buy. So you can just journal it. And guys, like I said, I'm actually looking at this, and I think in my mind, the way I did it, I was thinking daily. So this is kind of confusing. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do that one. So you'll get an update for that page. Here is the calendar, and I'm actually working on automation to send you guys reminders. Essentially, this is kind of to give you, when I want you to have it done by. But at the end of the day, if you have it done by the end of that week so you can move on to the next step, then you're fine. You can't move on to the next step until you complete the step before it. So you have all of that in here, okay? Like I said before, you need to read these pages. It's also, here's one of the things here too, that when I talked about the negotiation page, you can put, like, if you want to track your creditor, you can put your old rate, you can put your new rate, your old payment, your new payment, just something for you to write in. Oh, I do have a tip though. If you have a lot of credit cards and a lot of installment loans that you have to negotiate, do not overwhelm yourself. Do no more than 2 or 3 a day. It's already overwhelming for us to address our finances because we don't want to talk to people about it. But sometimes you end up being on the phone maybe 30 minutes talking to these people. Don't overwhelm yourself. Even if you have to do one a day, do one a day. You already know what the process is, but you just have to complete it before we get to the next step. So don't overwhelm yourself, okay? These are some notes on budget. And then this sheet here, what this is for week 1, even though you check off, you check off in the box that you've done it, and you see your things to do, you can still write it out here. Write it out here, and then you can write the day that so you track when you complete it, when you completed it. It's just for you to see it, and then you can make any notes. If you looked at the planner, you see that there are quotes on each one. Let me move this thing around. Okay. So they're quotes on each one, and I want you to read them every day. These quotes help me get through this whole thing. So, you talk about plan. A lot of people want to rush through things because, we're an instant gratification society, right? And so this is about patience. It's about pace. It's not about, I know you want to get it done. You want to be out of debt, but you have to move at a certain pace. Now, my pace may not be your pace. Your pace may not be another person's pace. You have to move at a pace that's comfortable for you. If not, you're going to get overwhelmed. But you also have to know that this is going to be a process. And so this is one of my favorite quotes. It's from Nipsey Hussle. If everybody knows me, I love Nipsey. And it says, instead of trying to build a brick wall, lay a brick every day, eventually you'll look up and you'll have a brick wall. And basically what it says is, if every day you're taking steps to get towards your goal, you'll eventually reach your goal. And actually that's all it's about, is the steps and the pace and the patience and the commitment and discipline to eventually complete the goal. I'm completely okay with you stopping if you get overwhelmed. And that's why I wanted the support group. You stop, but we want you to start. We want you to, some days you can be like, I just don't feel like looking at this. But you got to remember, you have a goal and you're committing to it. And I want to say this, let me just make sure before I go through, get questions and go through any. Okay. So this is your reflections. You're going to go through, at the end of the month, you're going to write down, this is the emotional part. You're going to write down how you felt about this. Did it trigger anything? And you're going to, it's like, what are you going to let that trigger stop you? Are you going to let that feeling stop you? Because you want to keep going. So I want you to reflect on, how do you feel now that you see what your money looks like? How do you feel now that you really know how much in debt you are? How does this really make you feel about yourself? For me, I was in a shitty place when I realized it. Like 53,000 in debt, and that's not my mortgage. You know what I'm saying? That's not my student loans. That's just my credit cards and my installment loans. Like, I felt a certain way because I didn't even realize it. Because when you're making monthly payments, you're not really paying attention to the balances. So you're gonna write that out. You're gonna write it out here, and you're gonna look at it, and you can spend some time with it. So you write out your reflections here. So before I get into questions, I just want to say this to you guys. I'm a very spiritual person. You can be religious, if you believe in a God or a creator. A lot of us look to these outside sources to help us to evolve and be better people and to stay disciplined. But I'm here to tell you that God created us with every single tool that we need to be successful. And when I'm saying that because, and I'll give you an example, a lot of us sometimes look for love in other people. We look to them to provide us love. But the reality of it is, so we can feel love, the reality of it is God gave us what we needed to love ourselves. We just have to know that the first love needs to be within us. And once we love ourselves, we know that the love comes from us. Same thing with managing our debt. Like, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody, unless you're going to file bankruptcy. Oh, one more thing. Some of you all may look at this, and based on your income, you may come to the realization that you need to file bankruptcy. If you've heard me talk about it a million times, I'm all for bankruptcy if it's going to take you more than 3 years to pay off your debt. Like, I'm 100% for bankruptcy. It's a viable option. So some of y'all gonna look at it and you're gonna see it, and then you need to talk to me about it if you do this and you feel like it is. If you do decide you need to file bankruptcy, it's about changing your mindset and not getting back into the same predicament. So as I was saying with any situation you're in, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody coming down and say, unless you hit the lottery, gonna come down and say, boom, you relieved all your debt. You know what I'm saying? So what that means is that you have to take the first step, and actually you have to take all the steps to change your situation. You may seek help, like I'm here to help, but you have to be committed, because even if you have me to hold your hand, I can't be there along the way to say, nobody was there for me to say, Nadja, you got to do this, or every step of the way, or press me or try to change my mindset. If I didn't change my mindset, I wouldn't have been successful. So you already got the tools in you to be disciplined. You just have to have the courage to be disciplined. You already have the tools in you to make, good choices when you spend your money. You just have to make sacrifices. And that has to come from within. So you can do this, but you have to change your mindset. And changing your mindset is going to make you uncomfortable. And I talked about this during the live. When it comes to getting serious about paying down your debt and your finances, it's going to change the way you move. It's going to change, and I'll get into social media, but you're not going to be able to attend everything. You're not going to be able to go to everybody's birthday party and spend money, because if you do, you have the same habits. You're not changing your spending habits. And that's going to, if a person is used to you, or people used to you hanging out in certain circles, and you're no longer doing it and you stepping back, people are going to try, either subconsciously or consciously, they're going to shame you. They're going to stop reaching out to you and stuff like that. And that's okay. Because you have to say to yourself, what's the priority here? Because those people aren't coming to save you financially. And so, and I'll tell you this, those people that still don't reach out to you because you don't hang out with them and you don't spend money, especially if you communicate, hey, I'm trying to watch my money. I can't do the same things no more. And they stop reaching out just to check on you, you should have never been spending money because of them anyway, because they really don't care about you genuinely. So that's my soapbox. I know we're running over our hour. So I'm going to do about 10 minutes, because I do have to get out of here to go take my son his basketball shoes. I'm going to do about 10 minutes of questions, and any questions after that, I want you guys to post it in the support group, and I'll answer, or if somebody else knows the answer, I want you guys to answer. And that's the thing about the support group. post your questions in the support group because somebody else may have the same question and I can't individually address them. Because I want you all to understand too, I'm doing this because I want to have my face more in the community because we need this education and we need to understand how to get out of these financial ruts that we're in. However, I still run a business. I'm still a full-time employee. I can't answer everybody individually. I'm actually, like, this is my free time. I'm not, please don't think that paying for the planner is paying for, pay me anything. I had to pay for somebody to design the planner. I had to pay for the website people. I had to pay, for the automation. So I'm not profiting from the planners. My time is being given free for this initiative. Now, maybe us going through this next year, I might be able to profit from it. But, I just want people to be respectful of my time. I never want to be rude. I never want to ignore people. People have been coming in my inbox, since the release, and I've been trying to address everybody, but it does become overwhelming. So, just put it in a group, somebody else to help you out. There's several people in the group that have been following me, and they know, they know some of the answers to some of your questions. So I'm going to open it up for questions. And I think the best way to do it is to go into the chat. So let's see. So ask your question in the chat, and then we'll go from there. So let's see. Oh, okay. You're welcome, Karima. Oh, okay. All right. So if one of my credit cards has already been closed by a lender, can I still negotiate the interest rate? Absolutely, you can. Now, let me say this to you guys. Just because you try to negotiate it, it does not mean they won't accept it. Capital One, I was with Capital One for 10 years. I went to negotiate my interest rate. They didn't even budge. When I tell y'all I paid that shit off so quick, because I was like, I don't even want to do business with them. And Erica, if you're in the call, Erica posted in the group the same thing. It pisses you off because you're like, damn, y'all, I've been a good paying client. Y'all made money off of me. Y'all won't even drop my interest rate 1%. So there are going to be some that does not do that. But yes, if it's closed, you can try. It does not. Whoever that is, can you mute your phone, please? Thank you. It does not mean that they're going to do it. All you're doing is asking. Look, every time, just asking, what's the worst they can say is no. That's it, right? Okay. Any other questions? I'm just looking in the chat. So I didn't see anything pop up. Now, if somebody is not in the chat and you're on the phone, you can unmute and ask your question.
Okay, it's Erica.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not in the chat.
Okay.
So my credit card debt is paid off. I don't have any credit card debt. So I only have student loans and my mortgage.
Okay.
So my focus would be my student loan.
And your mortgage.
And my mortgage.
Right.
But definitely the student loan first.
Right. You would still put your mortgage in because you only have, you know what I'm saying? You only have two. Oh, let me add this. If your student loans are individual, you need to put them as individual because they all have different interest rates.
Yes, mine's are individual.
Yes. So you want to put them individual because you also want to pay off your smallest ones first. You get what I'm saying? So you don't want, so you list them as individual. But yes, okay. Your focus would be your student loans.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have questions that's not in the chat? All right, guys. So I'm going to let you guys go. I'm really excited about this challenge. Remember, we are going to have giveaways, and now our giveaways are going to be based on what you complete. So it's a way of me checking and making sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. So the only other thing I want to say to you guys, I did want to touch on social media really quick. I'm not going to get into the way it impacts you from a financial perspective, but take some time and spend some time, maybe 30 minutes a day, get off of social media and focus on your finances. You already know what you got to get done for January, so spend some time doing it. If you complete your list of your creditors early, start working on your income, listing your income and your expenses. Because you got to have it done by the end of January. Because I'm going to tell you, if you fall too far behind, and I'm not trying to be rude in any way, and you come in and we already in March or we're in February and you asking about something the last week of January complete, and you're going to disrupt the group. And it's not fair. And so it's going to be overwhelming for us and you, and then most likely you're going to drop out. So just do what you have to do. Step away from social media for a while. If you are on social media, I'm on social media a lot too, but step away. I do step away when I have to take care of my priorities. So spend about 30 minutes a day. I would say 30 to 45 minutes a day focusing on your finances. January is going to be our toughest month as far as what we need to do, like the paperwork side. Everything else is going to be focusing on, you're going to have some action steps, but it's not going to be as intense as January. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. There's a question. Is there a way to link the budget app, computer, and phone app? Actually, the budget app is on a desktop. So if you already signed up for the budget app, you should be able to go on your PC and log in. That's my understanding of it. So if you haven't now I don't know if they try to make you pay like the debt repayment planner one to use it on your laptop, you got to pay. So I didn't see that, but try it and let me know. Post in the group if you're able to access it on your laptop. But I believe I did it. I didn't go in and put my stuff in, because remember, I'm starting all over with you guys for the year. So I didn't even get to that step yet. I plan to do it before you all. So I just saw that I could log in, but I didn't see if it would charge me to enter anything. So, just do it and let us know. And, guys, as you go along and you see some things, or, you might even see some apps or something that you might think are good. Don't put it in a group yet, but bring it to my attention and let me see if it's going to work for this. And then, we can go forward. I did want to let you all know for February, each month is going to have a theme. February is going to be belief systems. And what we're going to focus on in February, of course, there are going to be action steps around it, is, your belief system. Where did you get your belief about money and finances from? What are your belief systems based on your trauma, stuff like that? So that's going to be our theme for February. March is going to be our monetizing theme. It's where we're going to talk about what ways can you make more money, because the reality of it is, if you look at your budget and you're in the red, that means you need to figure out a way to monetize. Does it mean you may have to, I'm just throwing out there, does it mean you might have to do grocery shopping one day a week, for Instacart to bring in $100 extra to help you get out of the red? It's never going to be anything to where I'm going to suggest you pick up a whole nother part-time job working 4 days a week. Never. I would never tell you that, because you're going to burn out. What things can you do? I don't think Melissa's on the call, but she has a couple of experiences that she went through when she was doing this, and she talked about how she found money here and there. I know there's some people who talked about stuff that they have in their house that they can sell on Poshmark that they're not wearing. Can you go to, I know my daughter was just telling me this when I was down in Florida. She took some of her old clothes down to some place she hasn't worn in 2 years. And even though she was mad about it, but they gave her like $50 for a whole bunch of clothes, but you weren't wearing them. You know what I'm saying? So $50 is $50. So, that's useful. So that's going to be what we're going to talk about. Those are going to be our themes for we got January's preparation. February is going to be belief systems, and March is going to be monetizing. So, all right, guys, thank you for joining. I'm going to put this in the group so you all can have it. And again, if you have any questions, just post them. And I'm really, really looking forward. I'm excited. And I hope you guys do have accountability partners. Again, you still have a chance to add them to the group. And they do not, I don't want you guys to think this is about money. They do not have to purchase a planner. If you have a planner, you can share your planner with them so they can, follow along. I think this is going to be really, really good. You guys are going to be my focus group. So as we do this every year, you guys are going to be experts and you're going to be able to help the new people who come into the group, to walk their way through this stuff. So you guys have a good night. Like I said, any questions along the way, just post in the group. Thank you.